It's very
It's
mid. All right.
it's words about books, Nate.
Yeah. Are we
I'm Ben.
recording already?
We're recording
Okay.
already.
Shit.
I
Damn.
figured it was good. I wanted to capture as much of your like pre-show rant as possible.
All right. Well, have you been sick of reading mid books that didn't excite or aggravate you in any way, Ben? Because I got the book for you. It's The Mystery of the Yellow Room by the guy who wrote The Phantom of the Opera, I think. I don't know.
He wrote the Phantom of
Um,
the Opera, Gaston
yeah,
Leroux.
he's a French guy. So,
Not off to a good start.
hey, I don't do research. I just feel, Ben.
No, I meant because he's French. We're not off to a good
Oh, yeah,
start.
no. Not off to a good start.
I still call him freedom fries.
It's post Napoleon, so it's been all downhill for France ever since then. Yeah, they just never recovered after that. Mystery of the Yellow Room, Ben, by that
Mr.
guy who wrote Phantom of the Opera, which he is much better known
Gaston
for because
Leroux.
this book is very not great. I'm Nate, and you're Ben. How's it going, man?
Um, I'm
Voted
gonna
on
take
by our Patreon.
voted on by our
The
Patreon.
patrons.
I don't remember which one of it. I think you put this up there.
This was the annual losers bracket. So this got second place on a different poll, and it won the losers bracket. And so, here we are.
Okay, here's my thing. This was written in what, 1908 or
I was
something?
I was going to say about 4 days, but I see what you mean when you say written in what.
Yeah, I think it was real early 20th century. Often credited as being the first ever locked room mystery. And I bet, you know, over 100 years ago, this was really something. I bet this knocked their socks off.
Yeah, like over 100 years ago, an automobile going 20 miles per hour just blew them away. It was a simpler time. Make
Yeah,
America great again.
I'm not doing that this episode. I'm not going to do it.
Got that part.
But no, I think we're running into an issue here of this is the first of the locked room mysteries. I don't think it's the first genius detective. It's not. Edgar Allan Poe came before this with Dupin. They even reference it.
And
And technically, Murders in the Rue Morgue is kind of a locked room mystery, but a monkey did it, and so I don't know if that counts. We should have read Murders in the Rue Morgue. I've been kind of adamant about that the entire time we were reading this. I cannot stress enough, a monkey is the killer, and that's awesome. More books should have a great ape. I mean, I guess humans are a great ape, so they all do, but like one of the cool ones.
yeah.
An orangutan, a chimpanzee, a gorilla. That's what I want. The Yellow Room does not have that. And I'll admit I was disappointed. But I think you got to give it credit for
Absolutely
being the
not.
first, for having an original idea that
Absolutely
inspired
not.
a
That
lot
inspired
of,
a lot of shovelware.
I wouldn't say shovelware. I would say, look, you and I have
Okay.
been on
It's
a
fair that
quest.
it's not for me.
Yeah.
But I was looking for the stupid Rube Goldberg machine, and to this book's credit, it doesn't have one. But what it has is also stupid.
It has a woman who put all her stats into HP. There is no murder. This
I mean,
lady
someone
just tanks
dies.
every attack.
Someone dies. The Green Man
Oh, the
dies.
Green Man. No one cares about the Green Man. That's his whole thing.
I don't even know who that is. I lost the thread of who
I can tell you
everyone
who the Green Man
was.
is. I know what's going on here. Okay. But my thing is, I think our problem is it's like if you tried to show a kid, God, I mean, I don't even know what the example of this would
You
be.
did Flash Gordon after seeing
Yeah, like
Star
Flash
Wars.
Gordon in Star Wars, like the old adventure serials, the Indiana Jones. What do kids like these days? I don't.
TikTok. You show them
Oh
MySpace
yeah,
after you
yeah.
see.
You show them MySpace. You show them. No, this
Here's
is
my
like
open diary.
no, 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 no. This is like showing a TikTok kid the old school like text only terminal bulletin board
Oh jeez,
things.
I don't even think I participate in that shit.
Yeah, no, we're talking like pre the internet had pictures.
Oh my god.
That's what this is.
Like the oldest version of AIM.
Maybe. I don't even think this is like this doesn't have as many features as AIM. This is a locker room mystery that is from a time when doors had locks. That's what this is. That's the technology we're dealing with here.
And
This
you
this
had the
is the
right
first
to
of the
bear
first.
arms.
Yeah, guns surprisingly easy to get. And I'm an American. Like people pick on us all the time, but this guy, he just walks into a gun store and buys a gun, no background checks, no nothing. I mean, you
Yeah.
in America, you can only do that if you're at a gun show and you tell the guy that you're a senior in high school and you're just really angry at everybody.
You have to include that last part. That's the
Yeah,
important
otherwise they
part.
don't do it. I mean, they'll give you a
Yeah.
buy one get one free then. But yeah, I don't know. Anyway, my point is we have read Agatha Christie. We've read Yoko Mizo. You know, I think these were both better locked room mysteries, but I think the challenge for us, Nate,
Is remembering who anyone is.
well, that's one thing. But the second challenge is we don't like locked room mysteries.
Yeah.
Like I straight up don't like puzzle mysteries,
We
or I don't
wanted we
care
wanted to
about the
give it one
puzzle.
more shot after
The
the
Honjin
Hunjin
murders.
murders.
Yeah,
Yeah. We were like, well, if they're all like this, it's not for us. So maybe
they're
we
all
read
like
another
this.
one. And they're all. This one didn't have a dumb Rube Goldberg machine, but
No, but the thing I think the draw for the locked room mystery is trying to figure out how it's all possible and trying to figure out who did it and all that stuff. Like this one, the mystery of the Yellow Room is 100% about trying to solve the puzzle. This book wants you invested in trying to figure it out before the detective does. It
well,
wants you taking notes. It
failed.
wants you Pepe Sylvia like a room, and you know your whole thing is like you want to just solve this puzzle. My thing is the reason I like Agatha Christie, the reason I liked Yoko Mizo is the characters were compelling. I wanted to know why somebody wanted to kill those people. In this
Yeah,
one, I mean, god damn, they can't even kill her.
the murder of Roger Ackroyd, I can remember and recite to you all the characters and what their deals were. I read this book last week. I know most of their names, and that's about it.
Yeah, I I forget the main the Watson. I don't know his name.
Is that Saint Clair?
St. Clair. Yes. Okay.
Okay,
Yes.
the narrator.
So yeah, but I think that's the problem. Is like I wasn't invested in solving the puzzle. I think the characters they move around like pawns on a chessboard. It's not they don't have a lot of personality. They're all kind of the same middle-aged upper class French guy. And That's like the least appealing person on the planet. I mean, like we have a hard time with the British, but my God, the French.
Yeah. Like I said, all downhill since Napoleon. It's been a rough 200 years for them.
I think I told you I was struggling with the names, and buddy, I have 6 years of French, and I was just like, who?
I still don't know who some of these people are, but
Which one's Robert Darzac?
that's the
Which then
fiance.
I know, I actually know,
I
but
don't remember Daddy Jacques. I think that's like
I know
a
who
servant,
Daddy Jacques
maybe.
is. I'm pretty sure in the original it's Père Jacques, which is like Father Jacques. We'll get into it. You want to jump into it?
Yeah, let's get into it. It
You
starts
go, and
with
I'll try to
the
fill in the
book is
gap.
an extended flashback told by our narrator that the guy who is on trial for the crime, the fiance, that's Darzac, Robert Darzac.
Robert Darzac.
He is innocent, and now I'm gonna tell you the story all about how my French got turned. I don't know where I'm going with this, Ben. I'm not creative at coming up with raps on the fly. An
Sure
ugly,
aren't, buddy.
disgusting 18-year-old
He
looking motherfucker in a gross looking suit.
he is
He's
described as having a perfectly spherical head that is red like a
tomato.
tomato.
Yes, tomato head. It's either Routabil or Roitabil. The pronunciation in the audiobook kept changing that, actually.
It's
So
Routabile.
yeah, I'm just gonna call him. What's his first name? Joseph. I'm gonna call him Joe. Tomato Head
Routabile.
Joe. So Tomato Head over here. He's a reporter. Remember that, Ben. He's a reporter.
I know he's a reporter. He's not a
So
cop.
he's a reporter, and he's gonna report on who actually attacked Mademoiselle Stagerson. I'm gonna just lean into my accent.
Stungus. Yeah. So I also
Stangerson.
I had to like whisper sync this one because I had to go back and forth. The audiobook says
Stangerson.
almost Stoggerson,
Yeah.
Stongerson or something. Stongerson. I don't know, man.
Stonks. They're like the
Stonks.
stocks, but you're going to the moon.
Stongerson, I think is probably fine.
So, what had happened is
What happened was
her dad is a physicist who's studying, I think, the destruction of matter.
yeah, no, that's possible. That's canon.
that's real. He is
They
learning how
they
to destroy matter.
yeah, they said, matter and energy that can either be created or destroyed. They just transform. Nope,
Not this guy.
he was
This
wrong.
guy, he's coming out with groundbreaking research. So his daughter is helping him out in the lab and kisses her father goodnight. Goes into the yellow room, which is they've got a big ass house because of course they always do. It's always some rich asshole getting killed. And
If
then
only.
yeah, if only. And then she locks the door, and then out in the dead of night, I'm being murdered. Help me. I'm being murdered. Oh, God, he's beating me. Oh, I'm getting choked. Oh, gosh, the murdering. It is happening to me. And they're like, oh, God, we can't get in. It's locked. Maybe we
Blam,
should go to
blam,
the...
blam. Gunshots.
Yeah. Oh, no. And then they... And is she still talking at this point? Like, I fired gunshots at
Yeah.
him. I'm fighting him now.
Right. This lady is like Wolverine. You can't take her down.
So they're like, let's try to go in through the window because obviously they had to go in through that window. There are still bars on it. So how did someone get in there? And they bust down the door. She's on the ground, grievous head wound. She's been taken out, and there's no one there, Ben. Let's come up with some theories. Did he perhaps slide in between the two mattresses on the bed where they put her, and then and then they carried him out without them realizing it, Ben. Did he know how to destroy matter, and he weaved his matter through the matter of the floors and the walls, and he disappeared that way? How could this have happened, Ben?
There's an H.P. Lovecraft story where some witch masters like the strange geometries of null space and can teleport.
The strange geometries, if we put it on not a straight plane, and what can that be capable of? So who could have done this? But she turns out she's okay. Like, she's gonna go to the hospital. She's gonna recover from that grievous head wound, and like, mystery solved, she'll wake up and just tell us everything, right? Like, easiest mystery ever. But I guess while we're waiting for that, we gotta figure out some other stuff, like how
And why
how
and
and
where
why.
and with what weapon. and you're already dreading it. You're like, God, this is gonna be a whole day.
So the policeman arrives, Frederick Larsan.
Lasson.
And he's like, I know who did this. It was obviously the fiance. And I'm going to prove it by looking at all the evidence that points towards him.
Did you want me to add something to that? Okay, well, let's go into the relationships here. Okay, such as they are. So, the house. Okay, it is Mademoiselle Stonks and her dad,
the matter destroying physicist.
the matter destroying physicist, and she helps. She's also a matter destroying physicist. She's very smart. She's 35, practically dead.
Yeah, we're gonna. Yeah, you say
can't
she's
be married
now, but
well, she's book smart.
She's book smart. Yeah, I was
She's
gonna
book
say
smart.
that. Put all of her points in int and con, and kind of left wisdom and.
Yeah, she's running like a strength constitution or an int constitution build. She's one of those like meat cannons, you know.
Meat cannon.
So father and daughter science duo. They have a manservant and several unnamed Daddy Jacques.
And then Robert Darzac, the one who is going to marry her, even though she's 35, and like, why even bother at that point? Am I right?
Yeah, and that's what everybody keeps asking. They're like, dude, she's 35.
Yeah.
You put a bun in that oven, it's gonna get burnt, man. Like, it's over for her.
It's over.
She has
done.
no value. Only the ability to destroy matter. That's all she can provide to us.
And what kind of life is that?
Yeah, really. But Monsieur Darzac is
he's a real stand-up guy.
Yeah, he's a real
he's gonna take this useless appendage off of her father's hands. You know, I will gladly take your matter destroying daughter, even though she cannot further my bloodline of what does he do? I think he's also a scientist, but he's not matter destroying scientist. So.
He's one of the savants.
Yeah, and what's he gonna do when the Germans invade? You know,
destroy all their matter.
That's what the Stoggersons are gonna do. Darzac,
oh, he's gonna help.
He has to
carry her briefcase.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it didn't work out for them, did it? Not either time, really.
It's a real hard next 3 or 4 or 5 decades. France.
You're doing not the worst. That's the household. The father, the daughter, Daddy Jacques, bunch of unnamed servants, not really that important. Daddy Jacques is kind of like the the man, like the butler, the janitor,
And
the
it was his revolver.
and it was his revolver that
Luckily, he was in the science quarters at the time, so it could not have been him.
yeah. So
Otherwise, Frederick Larsan would roll up and be like, okay, it's the butler. Put him in irons and case closed. Let's hope no one tries to get her in the hospital.
mhm, mhm. So that's who was in the house at the time of the crime. We're pretty certain it wasn't the father, and we're pretty certain it wasn't
The Son or the
Daddy
Holy Ghost.
Jacques. It might have
It
been.
might be a devil, though. They do
I'm not.
mention you might
No,
believe in devils.
I'm not ruling out anything. Okay, I'm keeping it all on the table. It could have been divine intervention.
Okay.
Maybe,
In which
maybe
case
God,
we gotta go finish her off.
maybe God went to all that trouble to create matter. He doesn't want you destroying it.
He's pissed.
Yeah. He's like, I make all this matter. It's not easy, by the way. Have you ever tried making the matter? It's a lot harder than destroying it, I assume. And yeah, maybe fuck you. Grievous head wound. That's how God does it.
In which case, yeah, we gotta go take her out. We gotta go to that hospital and smother her. Sorry, it's what God wanted.
Yeah. But very quickly.
Because if we don't do that, he might do something crazy like, put into motion the largest war man has ever seen, and then the sequel to that war just 20 years later. So I'm not saying that Mademoiselle Stagerson is the reason that World War One happened, but like we can't prove it wasn't, right?
You can tell how excited I am. Now, at this point, it's in all the papers. There's this crazy attack, girl almost murdered in a locked room. Everybody's talking
How?
about it, and that's where we get Rouletabille.
Now they do tear the locked room apart. They interestingly do not destroy the matter of the locked room. They
Okay,
just
look,
make
I'm
sure
gonna
there's no secret passages.
I'm gonna yada yada about 50 to 100 pages here.
There is a
It's
lot of yada
locked.
yada.
It was locked. It was so locked. You couldn't get in that way, the other way. You couldn't get out. It is
And
incredibly locked. Okay, just trust
and
me. I don't want to go into it.
and were you is now a time where we could say that we both kind of called what had happened in at least partial respect? When someone's screaming murder for 2 minutes inside of a locked room and is not dead, you tend to think that maybe they're just making up shit and it's a play.
Yeah, I thought she did it to herself.
And spoiler alert, she kind of did.
Kinda.
Just, you have the same expression being like, God, where does this even go? A lot of this
The
book
Agatha
is
Christie
yada
defended this.
yada.
Agatha Christie, her damn self, defended this. So I don't want to say like it's a bad mystery because if Agatha Christie thinks it's a good mystery, well, who am I? But I think the grievous head wound is bullshit.
It's totally bullshit.
I'm sorry, Dame Agatha, but as cool as this book probably was and as influential as it was, that was an ass pull. I'm sorry, but we'll get to that.
And a lot of this book feels like a void. I am struggling to remember what happened in the middle of the book because it is a lot of was the room locked? How could the person have gotten in there? How could they have gotten out? Would they have gone through this way?
Okay, we established that the room is locked.
It's super locked.
We got to talk about Rouletabille.
Tomato Man.
The Tomato Man. So Rouletabille is our genius detective. I believe he appears in other mysteries. This is Rouletabille book 1.
Yeah,
So
and his
he's
thing
young.
is he's got bumps on his head, Ben. This is phrenology, and I just needed a quick aside to say that Man, science has come a long way from that pseudoscience bullshit phrenologist crap.
To be fair, the phrenologist stuff, the guy who makes the best strides in phrenology, the expert phrenologist in this book, is a drunken loser. So maybe they were onto something. Maybe not everybody was stupid.
They got those bumps on their head.
Well, he's got the bumps. He's got the bumps, but that's just room for more brain
Yeah, that's how
because he's
that
real
works.
smart. He's 18. He's annoying. He is a
He's
reporter,
annoying.
and he's very good at
He's
it. I mean, no, like his defining trait is he annoys people.
yeah, me too. I'm
True.
on team annoyed.
Oh, I thought you were also saying that your defining trait was that you annoy
Wow,
people.
wow, wow.
And I was like, yeah, that's kind of like people often praise our dynamic,
Yeah,
and that
that's
is the
that's our
dynamic.
dynamic, Ben.
Yeah. So Rouletabille has a friend,
You jackass.
Saint and they're going to go out and they're going to investigate this. Rouletabille is going to do it for the paper. Saint
He's doing it for the exposure.
Saint is a lawyer, and he's kind of new at being a lawyer, and so he's got a lot of free time. But the reason Saint gets invited is because one of the guys involved in this case owes him a favor. So far, the press has been barred from the crime scene, but Rouletabille wants Saint to help him get in there. Eventually, he does get in there, and the person still tries to turn them away, but then Rouletabille utters the magic phrase,
The presbytery has lost none of its charm nor its brightness,
nor the garden its brightness.
nor the garden its brightness.
The presbytery has lost none of its charm,
No,
nor
no
the
rabbit on
garden.
the hearth, and we shall have to eat red meat, or shall we have to eat
That's
red meat?
later. That's
Yeah, that's
later.
later.
What is a presbytery?
I don't know, but I worked at a place that had that in the name.
What
It's a religious thing.
Presbyterian is something.
Yeah, that's a religious sect of Christianity.
Yeah, it's a kind of Protestant. Um, I don't know what a presbytery is. And while we're on the subject of words I don't know, what is a gendarme?
A donjon?
A donjon. A gendarme is the guy who kicks people.
Yes. A donjon is
No. That's dungeon, isn't it?
that's what I thought. It's a
No, isn't there a gendarme? Like, what's the cops?
it's where you go. It's a heavily fortified area of a medieval castle, usually a tower to which occupants could retire during a siege. That's what it's called. So you know what? I'm going to give ourselves partial credit for that one.
Okay.
And the presbytery is a body of church elders and ministers,
What?
or the house of a Roman Catholic parish priest. Probably that one. Let's go with that one.
Why? Why the hell would?
Why would they say these code words? I still don't know. I finished the book and I'm still like, Ben, I don't care. I don't
I
know if you
know
realize this. I don't care.
you
I
have to
do not.
care, Nate. We're doing a
I do.
podcast on the book.
I do not care.
You have to care.
Absolutely not. You have to care for both of us.
I know why he says that.
He says it because he heard other people say it, but I don't know why the other people said it.
Okay. Before the murder, we will find out that Mademoiselle Stangerson got a letter. She burned the letter, But the one part of it that was left that he could read was that line. When he goes to the post office, so he knows she got a letter. He goes to the post office asking if there's a letter for her. And the guy's like, bro, I'm sick of you people coming here and asking for that letter. He's like, what do you mean? He's like, before you, there was another guy who came here asking for that letter. And before him, there was a lady who the letter was actually addressed to who got the letter. And I gave it to her. So leave me alone.
No, you're a postmaster general. Maybe get a different job if you don't like this one.
Well,
Perhaps
while I'm
joining
here,
the
give me somebody
military.
else's mail.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I want some
Exactly.
mail.
Maybe you should join the military. Things are not looking great. I think something bad's going to happen somewhere in the Balkans in the next, let's say,
Everyone's
8 years.
stockpiling weapons. There's a big network of alliances. If like one thing goes, everything goes. It's going to be, whew. Here's a shovel, dig a trench. Um, so yeah, that's where the code phrase comes from. So he says this code phrase and he gets in immediately. And it will not be for quite some time that you find out what the code phrase means. Now, the code phrase also gets him into like the inn.
Yeah,
I don't know
that's
why
the
that
red
is.
meat. I don't know what that one was. He's like, I shall now have to eat red meat, and they're like, welcome, brother, to the water buffaloes or whatever. You're now a stonemason.
It did seem like a Mason thing, but I don't think it is. But I don't know why that guy knew the phrase. He runs an inn, and then while they're sitting in the inn, the green man comes in. The green man is a groundskeeper that everybody hates.
Yeah, because he's a piece of shit. I hate him. I'm just kidding. I don't care. I really don't
You
care.
have to care. Do you at least know why the innkeeper hates him?
Because he's boinking his wife.
Yes.
And, like, do something about it, bro.
He can't. He has rheumatism.
Oh, I've got rheumatism. That's probably why your wife left you.
She didn't leave him.
That's
She just
probably why
cheated
your
on him.
that's probably why your wife didn't leave you, but
Are we
wants this
rheumatism
guy.
shaming? What he's got
Yeah, we
rheumatism. What are
are.
you? What's he
Yeah,
supposed to
that's
do?
right. You're getting rheumatism shamed.
He's got rheumatism, and the only treatment at this
Take
time is
take some of those.
morphine.
There you go. Get some morphine. Get some. I think gold flakes were used for rheumatism. Maybe.
She shoots him full of morphine, and then goes and stups the
Yeah.
green man.
There you go. That's on you for having pain to begin with. Maybe you shouldn't have. Maybe you should have accepted the morphine, huh? Who
Oh
will
boy,
help a widow's son? There's a code phrase for you. Am I part of the Masons now?
is that real?
That's real. I'm pretty sure if Masons say that, it's a way of signaling that they're in trouble or something. I don't
Okay. Why would I care if a Mason's in trouble?
know. You wouldn't. I do want that lodge though. If you want to buy the Words About Books studio for $1 million and take over a Mason's lodge, Ben.
Hey, if I buy a temple, I have to do magic.
Deal.
That's not gonna be good
Deal.
for this podcast.
Tell you what, if I win the lottery, you can do magic and we can live in a Masonic
Nate,
temple.
if we have a temple, we have to start a cult.
Deal. The Words About Books cult.
There's gonna be like strict reading requirements. You're gonna have to read The every book we've ever covered. And
And you're going to have to blog on it. You have
the
to write a blog
seasons
post.
can be ranks in the thing. When you read the text of a full season of Words About Books, you initiate into the next rank. We'll
There you
quiz
go.
you.
There you go.
That first
This
season's going to be rough, buddy.
is
The first rank is the hardest.
that weeds out the non-believers right away.
Dude, this religion writes itself. Okay, so there's a code phrase that gets him into all kinds of places. So Darzak lets him in. Rutabil gets access to the crime scene. That's a whole 50 pages right there. Is Rutabil just getting access to everything? And Rutabil has this ongoing feud with Larsan, who is the detective.
Going to beat him.
Gonna beat him, and they go around. They're just doing a bunch of stuff for a while. There's footprints. Doesn't matter. There's oh boy, I can honestly tell you the first 2/3 of the book is kind of just establishing all the ways the room is locked, how it could work, and kind of establishing our cast of characters. There's also at one point a cane that I don't think has much to do with anything. There's also
That's how they get him, I think.
No.
But
So basically,
someone's trying to frame Darzak.
Yeah. So
and Rutabil is like, he gives him that code phrase, and Darzak is like, "Oh shit, you heard that? Look, I want you to know, I didn't kill her, or
she's not dead.
No one killed her, but they keep talking about it like there is a murderer. So that maybe that's a translation issue, but they keep saying who's the murderer, and she's not dead.
Was the world just way safer back then? Did nobody have anything to do that they just had to stop everything?
No.
And
oh my god. They had nothing to do for about 6 more years, Ben.
A 35-year-old woman well, I guess she was working on destroyed matter. That's kind of a big deal. We really downplay that.
Yeah, because who cares? I mean, anyone can just destroy matter, Ben. I mean, how hard could it be? So anyway, Darzak is like, yeah, man, I promise you I didn't do it. I can't tell you who did do it, but I'll help you out. I'll try to give you clues. Just be really observant. And at this point, I was like, or you could fucking tell him. Just tell him. He can then figure out the rest of the mystery by working backwards, and he can leave out whatever information you don't want him to stumble upon. You jackass.
Yeah, so the cane I mentioned is kind of like if Darzak mentioned, if Darzak could prove he bought the cane, then it would give him an alibi, but he doesn't want an alibi or I don't even know really why that was. And okay, so Rutabil doesn't believe Darzak did it, but Darzak won't say anything to defend himself. And I don't know why.
He's got to protect his wife's honor, ?
But what is him what is him buying a cane have to do with that?
I don't know.
And why can't he say what he's doing when he goes places?
Because, Ben, this is a frustrating book. Sorry, Agatha. I hope we could still meet for brunch, but that is an ass pull as well. Why can't you help out? Oh, I just can't.
I can understand.
You cannot tell your wife to be's big secret, fine. But can you give me more than it wasn't me? Okay, bye. can you give me anything? Can you tell me who the murderer is, and then I can work backwards from there? I get that he doesn't know the guy's secret identity or whatever, but you have a lot of information that will really help us out. And your stupid wife to be has all of the information and could literally end this the moment she wakes up, but doesn't. And then she gets attacked again because you're all idiots.
This is where the book starts to get interesting, though.
Yeah, after several hundred pages,
After
it's like,
several
hey,
hundred pages, it really picks up. So the Mademoiselle Stangerson. God, it's such a hard thing to. It's spelled.
Stangerson.
It's spelled Stangerson. Stongerson. And I want to say it like Norris. Ah, God, I hate it. Stongerson. Mademoiselle Stongerson is out of the hospital. I don't even know if there was a hospital. There was a mutton bone. Forgot to talk about that. That's another red herring. Like the first 100 pages are just red herrings. They say, and okay, so here's another thing, Dame Agatha. I got to tell you, this really actually bothered me. You're gonna find out she was not struck in the head with a big old mutton bone, right? Mutton bone, like a sheep's bone, a big old bone of a sheep from a haunch of mutton. Now, picture what that's shaped like, okay? And they specifically say the joint part, the it's not sharp. That's my point. It's not super duper sharp. So they say it looks like she got hit in the head with a mutton bone. But no, it doesn't look like that because she
Not
got
even a little
hit
bit.
in the head with a very different object. And that was stupid. I caught him. That one, Agatha, you can't tell me that wasn't an ass pull. Oh, I also remembered like what they wasted another 30 pages on, it felt like. What did she wear her hair in curls?
Yeah.
We got to talk about that.
It could have deflected the blow, Ben.
You know those big French lady curls?
That could deflect mutton bone attacks?
Yeah, that could deflect a solid piece of animal bone being swung at your head by a large man. I don't know why they don't make football helmets out of that stuff. Why don't football players just wear large French style wigs?
Oh, but did she wear it in those braids or not, Ben? She must
No,
not
she
have.
never did. She literally never did.
Oh.
And I guess
Oh.
Routabille's asking that because like Routabille's sitting there thinking like, wow, yeah, if somebody had just like wanged her full baseball swing with a mutton bone, she'd be dead, right? So she's not dead, so maybe she didn't get wanged in the head full baseball
Well,
swing with a mutton
maybe
bone.
she managed to throw her hair mid-swing to absorb some of the impact.
No, she didn't manage to do that, but she did manage to shoot him.
Yeah, I was going to say, she shot him because the guy didn't then finish the job by beating her to death with the mutton bone.
I'm still like, now that I know what happened, I'm just like, this is so improbable. Agatha Christie, what she said about this was, she said that, I don't remember the exact quote, but she said something like, some people consider this one to be unfair, but she thought it was just barely fair. And that's what made it great. And
Incorrect.
I'm like, no, I don't agree. We're going to talk about this mutton bone again later.
All right. So, are we at the point where he notices there's a strange man inside the house? And he notices, like, huh, that's really weird that this guy's sitting at this desk or something. And
so can I be real with you? I had listened to this as I was walking to the grocery store. And this scene happened when I was at the self checkout, and my oranges were not being weighed properly. And somebody talked to me to like get the cash register sorted out. And by the time I had tuned back into the book, this was almost over,
You
and
didn't
I
rewind.
did not rewind.
Nope, that's all staying in. I'm not cutting that. So
I hated
so
this
so
book.
you're the Nate is
Yeah,
what
I'm
you're
the Nate.
saying.
I did
I
no
like how you
research.
said you hated this book and you gave it 3 stars, Ben.
I will when it'll make sense in the rubric,
I don't believe you, but okay.
Nathaniel.
So there's a weird guy in here. His back is turned, the lights are out, and Rutabill. That's what I'm calling him now. I'm not even gonna
Rutabill.
bother. Rutabill, Tomato Man.
Rutabil.
Tomato Man is like, I would think that this guy is supposed to be here, except the window over there is unlocked. He clearly just came in through the window. I'm gonna get him. So he's like, I need to get all my guys, all my friends. We're gonna get Larson and Daddy Jacques. That's what I'm calling him. We're, I don't respect you enough to do the accents. And Stangerson, the father.
Stongus.
We're gonna get him. And so they chase him and they chase him and then they all come together and what the hell? There's only 4 of us. Where'd the killer go? Did he perhaps use the power to destroy matter and just slip his molecules again through the other molecules? Um,
A Kitty Pride, if you will. Is he an X-Man?
yes, there you
Could
go.
be.
Who knows? But
Let's investigate that. She can time travel in that one movie.
and we have Wolverine here, so
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we do.
So, yeah, how did the killer escape? I don't know. Let's go forward to God, does anything happen before Darzak leaves again?
Nothing that matters.
So Darzak is like, "Hey, Roidabill.
Rutabil.
Hey, Rodabill, Tomato Man. Darzak is like, hey, I gotta go somewhere on a secret reason. I'm not gonna tell you ever. It's definitely not a trick, but every time I'm gone, my wife gets attacked.
No, she's not your wife, but
Yeah, you're right.
okay.
I mean, she really should she be my wife? I mean, she's 35, but you know what?
You're an incel. She's a femcel. Maybe.
Perfect. So I'm
Well,
gonna go.
actually, she's not. That's the problem, I guess.
I'm gonna go and like just keep an eye on her. Okay, bye. And then
And he's like, Rutabil, I'm trusting you with her life. I'm 100%. I know this isn't fair, but I am 100% putting this all on you.
an 18-year-old reporter.
Whatever happens here today, it's you.
So he leaves, and they're like, "Hey, Larson, we gotta come up with a plan here." And Larson's like, "Yeah, let's go with a plan." Oh my God, I'm so have I been drunk? Oh. And he's out, and they're like, "Well, shit. Okay, he's been drugged. How do you feel?" "Oh, I feel good." "Okay, I guess we haven't been drugged." So Rutabil is like, all right, you're going to stand here. You're going to have a vantage point on this place. I'll have a vantage point on this place. If you see him first, you move your hand here. It will block a little thing of light where I see it, and I'll understand your meaning. And you'll have your gun ready. You have your revolver. You're going to get this guy. And, okay, all right. And so they're waiting, and they're waiting, and they wait some more, and then he sees a guy. So he holds his light in front of his hand in front of the light. Rutabil's not coming. Rutabil is having.
I'm sorry, Rudaville is like just the way you like. You, it's not even a joke anymore. That's just how you say it. You're just totally straight faced. Like, so then Rudaville's like,
Rutabill is curled up sleeping, and he gets slapped and beaten awake.
I did enjoy that.
And
No, the part I enjoyed was when he was like, quiet, but don't stop.
um
He's like, don't make a lot of noise, but keep slapping me till I'm fully awake.
Correct. So Rutabill is like, I guess I was also drugged. We gotta go save Stongerson. And they get there,
And she's been
and
stabbed 6 times. It is kind of perfect comedic timing. And Rudabill's just like, no, I'm saying it. And Rutabill is like, oh. But don't worry, she tanks it.
She does. They chase after someone, and they just open fire on him, just shooting and shooting and shooting and shooting some more. And eventually, one of them maybe hits this guy, and it turns out it was the Green Man, and he was not shot; he was stabbed. Oh, but it couldn't have been that her lover's husband, because that guy has rheumatism. He came and hold a knife to stab a man, so we're back to square one. But it all looks like it's Darzak. And Larsan is like, no, it's Darzak. We're going to charge him with murder unless he fesses up to what he was doing in the middle of London or whatever.
Paris.
And he was like, whatever. And he was
in
like,
France. That's why
I
everybody's name's
swear they
weird.
mentioned London at some point.
He mentions London. That's where
The cane.
Lassan claims he got the cane when he was in London, but it was made in France. And he's like, well, cannot British people buy French canes? But they don't. The tariffs are too high. They Brexited.
Yeah, that's true. So, yeah, there you go. Since Darzak doesn't say anything in his defense, Larsan is like, cuff him, boys.
You're going to
Oh yeah,
jail.
the gamekeeper is murdered. I said that, right? Yeah, he's dead.
You said
Who
he
cares?
was stabbed in the middle of a gunfight.
Yes. So
Which is it supposed to be funny?
I
now that
I don't think it's supposed to be, but it is. So Rutabill is like, all right.
This sounds like some kind of exotic duck.
I think quack quack that I have solved the mystery, but I only know half of the killer. I need to know the other half, the sensual half. So I'm going to go to Philadelphia.
The
Hey,
most
bye.
romantic city in the world.
It's the city of brotherly love, right? Rutabill is literally like, I'm going to America, see you later. And then smash cut 2.5 months later to the trial.
I'm trying to imagine a bunch of guys from Philadelphia pronouncing his name.
Rutabill.
It's probably Rutabill. Or Frenchie.
So Rutabill's like, man, I sure
town.
was on an amazing adventure. Boy, howdy, that was an amazing, sure was. Anyway, I know who the killer is, but I can't pronounce who it is until 6 o'clock for some reason. Anyway, here's why it wasn't Darzak. It wasn't. He was held up by the real killers, like pals or whatever, and yada yada yada. Turns out that Stoggerson in the yellow room with the corner of a drawer. She did it to herself.
Okay.
Tell me about this, Ben, please.
Let's work backwards. So Rouletabille, he does not tell them exactly what happened. He tells them how the killer got into the yellow room, which again, if you're really curious, go read it. It's stupid. There's like a pin that he steps on and climbs and gets up to the terrace, and nobody cares. Every locked room mystery is like this. Every locked room mystery is just some stupid, like, but there was a way in they didn't know about, or there was a way out you didn't know about.
There was a Rube Goldberg machine that you couldn't have known about.
Yeah, it's like they're dumb. Anyway, or you do Knives Out, where like it's a mystery for 5 seconds. So what actually happened? Mademoiselle Stagerson is she used to live in Philadelphia when she was younger. She got involved with
In West Philadelphia, born and raised. Destroying matter. Those were the days. I gotta say, being able to see your facial reactions now, it only encourages me.
Okay. So she used to live in Philadelphia. While in Philadelphia, she met a man her father did not approve of. They eloped, but then he ditched her.
Ballmeyer.
What?
Ballmeyer.
Okay. That's his other name?
That's his name.
Okay. So he ditched her. And then she went back.
I'm pretty sure he was arrested after they had a kid.
They did. I don't think they had a kid.
They definitely had a kid. And they were like, that's a story for another time. It's like, yeah, it sounds like you abandoned your child in the United States.
I don't remember the kid.
They definitely had a kid.
Okay. Well, anyway, he leaves. She goes back. She doesn't tell her dad about the marriage. Later, she hears that he died. She puts off marrying Darzak for a long time, presumably out of guilt that she's like technically still married. But I don't know if like she finds out he died and that means like it's okay to get married now. But he didn't die. He somehow was a renowned criminal the world over, committed many high profile crimes, and then quickly rose through the ranks of the Parisian police department. Despite being an American, he does a flawless French accent, which I'm going to tell you is pretty hard. And he's actually Inspector Lassan.
And what's your proof? The proof is that he ran away during the trial.
The proof is that I told him I was going to expose him, and he took off. And they're like, well, no, he didn't. He's right. Oh, my God, he took off.
Well, why did you tell him in advance when we should have arrested him? Hey,
because fuck you, that's why.
I'm a journalist. It made it almost seem like, well, he got one over on the cops. He's like a free spirit. And it's like, yeah, he also beat and stabbed a woman multiple times. So
here's why he let him go. You
don't care? Really stopped caring and phoned it in?
So Rouletabille is
ugly.
He's concerned that if one, he doesn't want to kill anybody he doesn't have to, and he is under according to him,
you're not the one killing them, that's the state.
According to him, he's under no obligation to help the cops catch criminals, But there is a little thing. I don't know if they have it in France, but over here we call it aiding and abetting.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you would go to jail for this. Is a crime in America. I
I
don't.
was going to say that Stoggerson would also be possibly charged for obstruction.
I don't. She could be. I
When she
don't.
wakes up from that coma, we're putting
Yeah.
you in jail.
Usually they don't charge people. Usually they don't charge the victim. Usually, it's a problem. But yeah, so they could definitely charge Darzak with obstruction because he knew things he didn't tell.
Well, yeah, but Darzak, there's some worse things that.
Yeah. So they he the other reason he doesn't want to tell though is uh that if Lassan is arrested and he is put on trial, he is going to expose her secret that she was married before and it'll ruin her reputation. And he doesn't want to do that. So I think the little deal he's arranged here is that Lassan escapes. He never shows his face to these two again. And we call it a day. And he doesn't tell anyone that they were married, that they were a thing. He does it to preserve her honor.
Yeah, but not her chest or head.
To be fair, he didn't expect to be drugged. He really thought he was going to save her from that stabbing.
Yeah, Larson. Spoiler alert: he faked being drugged so he could attack her without
And
suspicion.
when they tried to catch the guy Sinclair had seen, they didn't catch him. He seemed to have disappeared, but he didn't disappear. Lassan just took off his beard. I think he was wearing a big red beard. He just took off his big red beard and he was Lassan again. And
You
he
know, it
was
would
like,
have been a
I didn't
great.
see him.
You know, it would have been a great piece of evidence. It makes me think of there's like was it Groucho Marx glasses, the fucking nose and the
Yeah,
mustache
yeah,
and the yeah. I didn't see him.
yeah.
Oh,
So yeah, that's what happened. Now, you may be wondering, well, okay, so did he brain her with the mutton bone then? No.
he tried to attack her earlier in the day. She shot him in the hand, but choked her a little bit, and it turns out she wasn't into that. And so she just tried to like hide the evidence, and then she had a panic attack while sleeping or
She
what?
had a nightmare while she was asleep,
So she was crying.
reached
That's
for
why she
her
was yelling
gun in her
murder.
sleep. She knocked over the table, causing the gun to misfire. That's why there was a bullet in the ceiling. I forgot to tell you about that. There was a bullet
But
in
it
the ceiling.
fired twice.
I don't know, man.
The gun
What's better?
misfired
What's
twice.
better? Knocking over the table in your sleep and causing the gun to misfire, or in your sleep picking up a gun?
Maybe you should have had the safety on. That's just bad gun ownership.
There's a lot of bad gun ownership in this.
And then what happens, Ben? How does she sustain her wound?
She fell out of bed and bashed her head on the corner of the table,
Wow.
which is,
Wow.
he even points out, if you looked carefully, which, by the way,
We can't because we
I have
weren't there.
a problem with this too. If you looked carefully, there was actually blood on the corner of that table. There's no way somebody would miss blood on the corner of that table. And also, there's no way the wound from the corner of a table matches the wound from a mutton bone. And if there was blood on the corner of the table, and by the way, everybody was all over this room all day, multiple people, because like they were looking for how this guy got in and out. So they went over every little thing in the room. Nobody noticed the blood on the corner of this table except Rouletabille. And now, if they had noticed it, they would have easily been able to be like, oh, it was the corner of the table she bashed her head off of. Maybe he bashed her head off the corner of a table. Maybe she's just like a pro wrestler and like managed to like put her hand
Nope.
out before it happened and just
Mutton
like kind of like
bone all the
take a little
way.
bit of a cut. And okay, yeah. So my many problems. The biggest problem is the characters kind of suck.
Yeah. They're all
Um,
boring and interchangeable.
they're not memorable. Apparently, Lasan was just like a crime kingpin that we never knew about. We never knew a crime
Yeah,
kingpin
when he
existed.
mentions Ballmeyer, they're like, "Oh my god, Ballmeyer was in this case?" And it's like, yeah, I feel like maybe that should have been mentioned if this is going to be a reveal cuz yeah.
There's no mention of Lasan having any American past, any American accent. He passes perfectly as a native born Frenchman. Um, then, uh, why was she even attacked once? I guess to get everybody there so that they could have the second scene. I don't. Do you even remember the device for getting in and out of the room?
No, I don't. And I won't.
It's covered in like a couple
Plot
paragraphs.
device? Oh.
It's covered in a couple paragraphs. It's not memorable. It's dumb. It's just another one of those stupid things, and I didn't like it. But there are things I did like, which is why we should rubric.
Okay.
Are you ready?
blog.wordsaboutbooks.ninja/words about books review rubric / content and ideas, Ben. We're going to differ on this one, I bet.
I'm not there yet.
I'll say it. 3.
I'm going to say
You're going to do a 4, aren't
I'm
you?
going to do a 4.
You're going to be like, original ideas, but I'm going to go with the maybe underdeveloped part. You don't get points when you tell me a mutton bone was used and she just rolled out of her bed and brained herself. And at no point did she say, I rolled out of bed and brained myself like an idiot. We could have gotten rid of this whole locked room thing if you would have just said, yeah, when I was attacked
I was
with
having
the
a nightmare
I was
and
having a
I
nightmare.
screamed murder and I bashed my head off them. Yeah. But what I will say is, if it is the first locked room mystery, the idea of the locked room mystery is clearly developed, perhaps overdeveloped, perhaps far too much was banked on me caring about how somebody was attacked in a locked room.
Yeah, I can agree with that. But the story that sits upon that skeleton sucks.
I think from a puzzle mystery perspective, I'm going to anticipate like if
How do
somebody
you
really
solve these though?
okay,
How
I
do you go,
don't
well, if you
know.
looked really closely, there was blood on that. Well, I can't look very closely. I'm reliant on the narrator to figure that out at some point. And
I
he
don't
didn't.
know.
And again, why was that never mentioned or even drawn attention to? Because again,
I'm
it's
going
like the
to
murder of Roger Ackroyd. I can piece together a lot of the stuff.
I'm going to err on the side of generosity because I think the proper way to read this book is to take notes, sit down and think about it, maybe reread
Absolutely
portions you
not.
didn't
I have
understand.
video games now, okay? I don't need to spend all my time on one book.
But I think if you did that, if you read it the way it wanted to be read,
Man, I don't get
I
paid enough for that.
I think it would be pretty well developed. I think it's very influential. I think we have the problem of we have had both. We have had the solid puzzle aspect and we have had good characters. In a world where you have Agatha Christie, I don't know if you need Gaston Leroux.
Yeah, that's right, Gaston. Get the hell out of here.
Well, he's dead, so he did.
Yeah, there's a reason you were the villain in Beauty and the Beast.
Was he? Oh, Gaston.
Organization, Ben.
I don't know, Nate. What are you giving it?
I'm torn between a 2 and a 3 because it's really, really painfully slow. And by the time it starts to pick up, like, I will be honest, Ben, that part you skipped over where they're like, oh, there's a guy in here. Holy shit. I didn't even realize what was happening until they're like, I think there's a man in here who's not supposed to be in here. And I was like, whoa, sorry, is something actually happening? I thought we were just going to talk about that fucking room forever. So, yeah. I thought we were going to speak in code phrases and walk around the donjon for a bit. And by the time I started surfacing, stuff was happening. So, I'm going to give it a 2 plus. You get halfway between.
You know, I think I gotta give it a 2. I think I gotta give it a 2 because I just don't know what was happening for so much of it. I
All
want to
right.
say if you sit down and you take
If
notes.
you're gonna be not generous to it, then I will also not be generous to it, and I'll drop it down to a full 2.
Yeah. I don't think we need to go half points here. I think the generosity was in the content and ideas. I think I like the idea, but I think if it had been organized a little better, like mix in some more of the stuff with, I don't know, maybe it's a product of its time. That's where I'm having a little bit of trouble. But like the one lady just straight up admits in court that she was having an affair with the Green Man. And I don't know why like we couldn't have fleshed that out a little bit more. Like, oh, there's all this intrigue going on. Like, oh, what was that thing about the servants? Oh,
Because then you would
they
have characters,
yeah,
Ben.
they poach in the. It needed the characters. It
They're
needed the human.
boring as shit.
It needed the human bit. I needed not just the mechanics of how people were getting around and how they were committing crimes. I needed more of the why. I needed to feel the way they felt. I needed
Yeah,
a
that's
cast of
why crime
characters.
shows are enjoyable because it's about characters. Okay.
Language.
That's hard because it's in a foreign language. I don't know. 3 at a minimum, maybe a 4 because it uses such nah. Fuck it, it's getting a 3.
I'm gonna go 3.5, and I'll tell you why.
You
There's
motherfucker.
no. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. There's
Because
one
you're a
part.
sellout.
No, I'm not a sellout.
You're a
I
big
I
phony.
I honestly really enjoyed a use of language here when they're in the courtroom and he's basically doing all the audience reactions to everything, and it's like a reality TV show, and people are like whispering stuff in the background. I liked it. It actually worked. It set a scene. It was entertaining. It was funny. It was cool. It felt like a big reveal. It felt like grand and epic, and I did like that. And I wanted to know where that guy was the whole book.
Okay, well, I'll take your word for it, Ben. Personal preference, Ben. I'm gonna go with a 2.
Two.
Yeah, dislike this book. I guess I can understand the appeal to weirdos. Recommendation strength, Ben.
I think a 3 is warranted here.
So what you're saying is you're still giving it 3 stars even though it comes in below average. So that's what you're telling
Hang on, let me see.
me.
Let me see.
51 points, Ben. Average is 55.
Oh, come on. Let's
Yeah,
see here.
that's what we call a high 2.
Let's see here. 6.
C plus is not a B. You know what I'm saying?
Let's split the difference. I'm gonna
Yeah.
round. Hang on, I'm rounding. I'm rounding numbers. Oh no, I lost some numbers. Hang on. Hang on. I'm calculating. 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 Uh-oh. Um
Yeah, that's right.
okay, but that would be a 2.5.
Yeah, so round
Slightly
down.
higher than a 2.5. Slightly it would no, cuz this would come out of 100.
Sorry, the cutoff is 55 points, Ben. You come in at 54, you're still getting a C. We don't round up. You get 79%, that's a C, buddy. You need to get an 80% in our classroom.
I'm rounding up for legacy.
Yeah, yeah. You said you didn't like this book, and you're like, oh, but you know, we're gonna. You already went real generous with the content and ideas. Now you're rounding up for legacy.
I'm
I'm giving it a solid
deferring.
2 because it
I'm
sucked. It
deferring to
was a
Dame Agatha.
solid. It was a solid garbage book that we don't need to discuss anymore.
Agatha.
Recommendation strength is for a very niche audience who
No.
wouldn't care about major plot.
No.
This is
No.
recommended for people who like mysteries, but specifically walk through mysteries, and they like bullshit. They like not having characters. They like bullshit explanations of like there's not even a stupid Rube Goldberg machine. She just fell out of bed. Okay.
I no. That's too harsh. I
She
think that's too
rolled out of
harsh.
bed and instead of getting up for the day, she got down for the night. You know what I'm saying?
She was
She got
unconscious for 3 days. No.
and
I
then two people know who the killer is and they're like, "Nah, because my dad would be really upset that I actually got married like 12 years ago." And also, you know what he's probably going to be more upset about? The fact that you had a fucking kid and didn't tell him. So there you go.
I
40 points, Ben. 40 points. I think that's being generous.
I
You
I,
get
I
2 stars. Get the fuck out of my couch.
I don't think you can say. I'm gonna. I could be making a point here.
You
It's
could be,
hard for
but you're
me.
not.
No, it's hard for me to stand behind this because I don't personally feel it. I'm not a big fan of the mystery genre. You know me. I'm the fantasy sci-fi guy, mostly fantasy. And I have to say, it seems like a lot of people who are very serious about mysteries find a lot of important stuff in this book. Agatha Christie liked it. Yoko Mizo liked it. That John Dixon Carr liked it. So I don't think it's a strong recommendation to genre fans, but I do think if all of those people really like it, and all of those people are much more invested in the mystery genre than I am, particularly the puzzle aspect of the mystery genre, then my not enjoying it is not indicative of whether or not the hardcore mystery fan will enjoy it. And so I think if you are a hardcore mystery fan, I might go so far as to say it's required reading. It's like it's curriculum material. Like it's historic. You have to read it.
No, you don't have to read it. You have our permission to not read it. Just go do something else. Go touch grass.
Go touch grass. Look, if you're listening to a podcast about a book you haven't read, don't tell those people to touch grass. We need them to listen to the next episode, Nate.
That's fair.
You
Instead, go to our Patreon and support us.
Yes.
Like these big dick ballers.
I just wonder if I should even speak because, like, the expression you're seeing on my face is like, he knows he can't say that, right? Like, he knows he has to change that in editing, right? Do I need to address it?
Oh, we've got Jamie, the Gravy Man, on If You Want the Gravy blogspot
WordPress.
If You Want the Gravy.wordpress.com. One take, first try. And then you've got Shy with a Y. I think TikTok is still a thing, so that's where you can find Shy with a Y. We've got John Bierce, real author, wrote the Mage Errant series and the Rack. One-time Wabi Award winner John Bierce.
You should put that on the cover of your next book, John.
Yeah. like one of those seals that they used to have. Like instead of the Newbery Award, it's the Wabi Award.
It's more exclusive than a Hugo.
Yeah. And we haven't sold out to China, so it's more prestigious.
True. They weren't buying, but that's how you do it. You stay under the radar.
And then finally, we have Isekai Sensei Sama, aka Brad, who does the podcast. God, my mind just went completely.
That time I got reincarnated in the same world as an anime podcaster.
Podcast. Did I miss anyone?
You didn't miss anyone.
And go check out our lower tier Patreon levels if you want to get in on some bonus episodes like Hellhole by Brian Herbert and Kevin J. Anderson, or for this coming month or this quarter, whatever.
I don't. You know, the point of doing it as a bonus episode was not for you to advertise it.
It was too late, Ben.
I don't want to attract attention to that. I reluctantly agreed to this, first off.
Okay, I'll bleep out part of the...
You're not a fan of Emmanuel Macron?
I like his last name, but only because it reminds me of the cookie. I do like those cookies, so...
I think he married his teacher.
You mention this every time we bring him up.
It's a weird thing.
Marriage.
Like, everyone should be talking about that all the time. It's weird, right?
It's weird. And also he dissolved the parliament or whatever, and he's calling for elections because his party got slapped in the EU election.
It's a bold move. See if it plays out.
Yeah.
Europe is not doing a lot better than America with that shift to the right. Look to the right,
Look to the right.
Gaston.
Look to the right. Cue that footage of the flower seller in Britain who's like, I voted for the Brexit and didn't realize that now I can't import from Holland easily anymore. It's almost like I voted against my best interests because a fast talking idiot with stupid hair said that we are sending billions of pounds to the EU and maybe we should put that in our hospitals, and then heroically did not put billions of pounds into the hospital system after he won the vote. It's almost like he's a fast talking liar man who sold us a bill of goods, and I'm an idiot who again voted for a measure that makes it harder for me to import the thing that I sell in order to keep the lights on in my house. I think I might be stupid and maybe I shouldn't vote on things.
You have to cut a lot of this. This cannot be how the episode. You've lost so many people. This cannot be how this episode starts.
It'll be how it ends. I'll put this right at the end.
Thank you.
All right.
I'll send you a news clip where
a man got stabbed for talking about the wrong Philly cheesesteak.
No. This one's worse. There's a mystery, an ongoing mystery in Philadelphia. No one knows where the chicken bones on the street keep coming from.
Okay.
There's just chicken bones on the street all the time.
Rudabill can solve that mystery.
Maybe it was him.
He looks like the kind of guy. Like, anyone listening to this, go look up Rudabill. Type it into your Google machine, just like that. Rudabill.
What does he look like? Into your Google machine. The hell did you just send me?
That's what I thought of when I think of Tomato Man.
What is this?
A Tomato Man. I don't know what
I understand it's a Tomato Man.
He's got a mustache. He's wearing a shirt with a pizza on it for some reason. I have no idea where this is from, Ben, but I remember seeing it. And then whenever I think of a Tomato Man, I think of this weird guy.
How often do you think of a Tomato Man?
Every time I read this book or talk about this book, Ben. That's Rodabill right there.
Well, he didn't have a mustache, but okay.
Yeah, he's too young and impotent to grow a manly mustache.
I don't know if he's impotent. We're going to talk about that woman in black.
I could not care less. That's the next book name, by the way.
She used to babysit him, though? That was weird. You know what, though? Maybe that's standard practice in France. That would explain Emmanuel Macron.
Oh my god. Okay.
Raise your husband to be the man you want him to be.
Oh, you can't do that in reverse gender roles.
I wish there was a word for it.
I feel like there is one.
It's almost like how when you prepare somebody for a management role, what do they call that?
Grooming, Ben.
Yeah. I think Emmanuel Macron was groomed. He married his abuser, and now he's the president of France.
Ooh. Oh, God. So anyway,